Today, we're going to talk about Google Notebook, which is a free tool from Google. The agenda is going to explain what NotebookLM is, a brief overview. We're going to look at creating notebooks, what's involved in doing that. We're going to talk about what sources are, and we're going to look at what are outputs. And outputs have changed a lot lately, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this update. NotebookLM is basically a free AI tool for Google that lets you create what are called notebooks. Think of them like folders that you can use where you can collect information in a space that Google gives you. And you can have more than one notebook. You can have a private notebook or even a public notebook. The thing about it is that you choose the information sources. So if you have a set of documents or a set of references or a set of pieces of information that you only want to use as the source information for your AI, you can do that. You have the ability to do that. Most of the time when you enter a chat into a general purpose AI, it's going to go off and find information that it has in its database, whereas NotebookLM gives you the ability to kind of contain the sources of the information. And so the AI can analyze your notebook. If you upload a spreadsheet with numbers, if you upload documents, if you upload other things, it's going to just look at those. And there's some limits between the free and the paid account. So a source is a document, a video, an audio, or a website even. So a website could even be a YouTube video. We'll try that out and try using that as a website. Documents can be Word documents, PDF documents, and Google, because they're tied to obviously their own Google Workspace, makes it really easy to import things from Google Docs. We'll see if we can get that working today. The outputs are what is really exciting. You have a chat bot that you have with the AI while you're using NotebookLM, and you can ask questions and queries about the sources you have provided to it. You can actually even select a portion of your sources or a specific document or a specific item as a source, or select multiple ones. So you can ask summaries, comparisons, analysis, combining, updates, etc. Whatever you want to do in AI chat is available to you in NotebookLM. You can get a report. It'll create a documented, formatted report for you as an output. It'll create an audio output as kind of a two-person dialogue. And they've introduced something new, which I'm hoping to show you today, if I can make it work. You can output a video as well from your response, and it'll generate a video. It takes a little while to do that, but we'll try and get it to work today. You can also generate a quiz. You can generate flashcards to practice and use for learning. And you can even do what's called a mind map. So they've added all these different outputs from NotebookLM to make it a really interesting tool for taking information and working with it and utilizing it in different ways. So let's take a look. Let me switch over to my web browser and we will take a look at it. I'm using Google Chrome because I have my Google account set up with that. And I'm just going to open up a new tab here. So when you open up a new tab in Google, you do get your profile if you're logged in with your Google account. You get a Google Apps icon here that you can click on. And if you're not using NotebookLM already, you might have to go to NotebookLM. But once you start using NotebookLM, it'll show up in your list of Google Apps here. So I'm just going to click on that. And you can see the URL up here. Let me highlight that for you so it's a little bit that you understand what we're looking at. You'll see a URL that says notebooklm.google.com. So if you ever want to get to it, you can always get to it that way. Let me show you a few of these navigation tools that might help you. I've got my account up here. I've got a button for a new notebook. I've got a most recent notebook. I've got a way to change the view from a grid view to a list view. That's the icon for a list view. And I'm in grid view, so it shows icons for these. I can look at all notebooks because there are some public notebooks that have been created. People have created notebooks like business for earning reports for the top 50 corporations. And so these are actually publicly available notebooks for people to use. I have my notebooks. I can feature a notebook, so it's easier for me to find as I create notebooks. And I have a shared with me notebook that I can utilize as well to take a look at that. So I have a wide range of tools that I can utilize to make sure that I've got capabilities to manage that. Okay. So these are tools that are available to you for using and navigating around. And what you'll see at the bottom are notebooks, and you'll see this create new notebook. Same thing as up here. Same thing down here, create notebook. And these are some notebooks that I've created where it lists sources. In the free version of NotebookLM, which I'm using now, you can have up to 50 sources. You can create a second notebook. If you go to the paid plan, I honestly don't know how many sources it lets you use, but you can use more if you want to. So let's try creating a new notebook because you won't have one if you are starting to use it. So I'm going to click on create notebook here, and it's going to give me a pop-up here that says add sources. We can discover sources, which is something new that's come up, or I can upload sources, and I can go to my Google Drive. I can link to websites or YouTubes, or I can copy and paste text. And here's the slider on this. So I'm just going to drag some sources up here from my desktop that I'm going to put up here, and it's going to take a look at these sources. So if I want to add another source, I could drag a presentation over from a PowerPoint. Some types of files are not supported. So it takes a PDF, TXT, Markdown, audio, or a docx. So it will not let you upload a PowerPoint presentation. You can, however, export your PowerPoint to a PDF and then use that as a source document. We can go to Google Drive, and it'll bring up your Google Drive information here. So if I want to look at some recent things I've done, I can look at this, and this is another one. I'll insert this. It's some articles on AI that I'm putting up there, why you should learn prompt engineering. Duplicated that, looks like. But you'll see there's little lists of sources here, and I can go discover sources. So I can say I want to look at the web, and what are some sources for learning AI for older adults? It's going to ask for the web, and I'm saying submit it, and it'll find some sources for me on the web. So it actually includes the functionality of Google search right within here. So here's one from Senior Planet. Here's one from Coursera. I can choose all of them, or I can just say, well, let me just import 9 sources, and it'll import 9 sources. I can go to YouTube. This is a YouTube one, but if I want to go to my channel on YouTube, let's see if I can get to there, and .com/Bobology. We'll go to my YouTube, and we'll take a look at something I've done recently on AI here, and I want to share this. Let's see if I can click a link here. I can copy the link, go back to my source here, add a source, and I can post a link right here for a website, and I can paste one or more URLs. So it doesn't have to be one URL. You can put multiple URLs in, and it's only going to take the visible text of that URL. It's not going to pull in any ads or other information. So you can make a list of URLs and copy and paste that in if you want to. So it's just going to pull this YouTube video. So now I've got this information here with all these sources, and I've got some suggestions here for prompts. How does effective prompt engineering enhance utility across diverse user applications? Well, why not? Let's take that. You'll see some things. I can save this to a note. This is a summary of all the sources that I've uploaded that's already created. And it's kind of assumed that this is maybe a good topic or title for it. So it's created that. And on the right-hand side, I have this thing called Studio. We're going to look at that in a minute. These are Studio outputs, video, audio, and mind map. But we're going to just click on a prompt here. And just like regular chat, in the center of your screen, you've got a normal, typical AI chat request, prompt request, and it's going to generate a response for you. But from the information that you have added to as sources. You can save it to a note, you can copy and paste it. I'm going to just say it's good. So what I want to do now is I want to go over to create, maybe I want to create a quiz for this. I can generate a quiz based on my sources, and it'll generate it based on all 13 because I left them all checked off. If I wanted to just generate a quiz on one particular source, it would generate a quiz on one particular source. I'm going to generate an overview. It'll create an explainer video presented to you by AI, and it's generating it based on 13 sources. And I'm going to generate an audio overview. I'm going to generate a mind map, and I'm going to generate flashcards. So I don't know how long this is going to take, but I'm hoping we'll see some of these come back. Reports is a little bit more lengthy type of document. So if I want to unselect sources, I can click unselect, and I can just say, here is a one I want to do. I want to generate a report based on that. And it gives you report formats that you can create: a study guide, a blog post, a marketing brief, create your own style, course overview. Let's create a study guide and see what kind of response we get. So all of the studio outputs are going to end up here. So our AI quiz has been developed already. This is telling me it's complete. So let me check on that, and we'll see. According to this is one, there's more information here. According to the AbilityNet webinar, how does AI fundamentally different from traditional computer programming? And it's created a multi-part quiz. Let's see where let's check A, and it gives me the right answer. And then it goes on to the next quiz. So it's possible to create quizzes from this information, and you can expand the viewer if you want to get a bigger view of this and manage it, or you can collapse it. So you can go on to next questions. You can see what it's like. But at the top here is the navigation. We're in Studio. We're looking at the AI quiz. So you can generate quizzes from this information. We can generate flashcards. We'll create flashcards. What does AI in healthcare refer to? And if I click on that, it gives me the answer. So it's a way to go through. It created 74 cards based on these 13 sources. So it's a great learning tool as well to create learning information for you in addition to this. Now, I believe if I go back to the three dots here, it gives me the ability to share this. And I can share it to specific people, or I can give people the ability to anyone with the link, and I can copy the link and paste it in other places, or I can add people in groups if I want to through this tool and give people the ability to do that. So these tools, these studio outputs are there. So you've seen flashcards, you've seen quiz. Let's see a mind map and take a look at a mind map. Mind maps are kind of interesting. Whenever I would do a new community college class or something in a little more complex type of activity, I would create a mind map and I would just draw and put ideas down very quickly. This is creating a mind map from my 13 sources, and each of these are expandable. So this is intelligence and AI for aging populations. You saw I use this little disclosure arrow. It kind of summarized what my sources were about. So if I click this disclosure area, it expands the mind map into some of the subtopics: interacting with AI, AI policy, challenges and risks, applications for seniors, health, finance and lifestyle, health and wellness, definition and core concepts. I can click on one of these disclosure arrows and it'll give me a pop-out. Health and wellness, major health challenges, independent living, accessibility. I can pop out AI governance. It'll give me other information. I can pop out even more. So this mind map will expand the topics. It's kind of like a built-in outline for you to understand how these things are related to the central idea and how the different topics or bullet points might be created. I could see eventually this becoming a way to create like a slide presentation, but they currently don't have that in there. This down arrow here gives you the ability to download the mind map as an image, as a ping image. Okay, so you can download that as a ping image if you want. If you want to make your mind map a little smaller and move it back over to the studio view, you would click this, and then we go back to studio, and we have some audio generated. So audio is generated based on a feedback dialogue. So let's see if I can.
Today we're digging into something that is maybe even skeptical. Artificial intelligence and how it relates to the aging population. You might think AI, that's too complex, maybe too risky, or just, not really for older adults.
Not really.
No, actually, pretty much.
Somewhat.
One of the new things you're going to see.
And then use those patterns.
Let me see if I can pause this. There we go. One of the things you haven't seen before maybe is this thing called interactive. It created an 11-minute, 56-second audio overview with two people talking back and forth. And what I want to do is get a interactive feedback here. So what this means is that I can play this.
Welcome to Deep Dive. Today we're digging into something that, often gets people a bit nervous, maybe even skeptical. Artificial intelligence and how it relates to the aging population. You might think AI, that's too complex.
I can click the join button.
Hey there. Share your thoughts on
what this means now is that I'm actually joining in the AI discussion with these two people. You can see it's taking my microphone here, and I can allow it to work on things. Let's try interactive mode, and let me play. Hey, I'd like to know if you're going to cover health issues today, okay? I'd like to know if you're going to cover, let me change, I'd like to know if you're going to cover health issues and make sure that you'll cover health issues and I can understand what's going on.
That is an excellent point.
We hear you loud and clear.
We want to make sure we're covering all the bases.
Absolutely. Today we're digging into something that often gets people a bit nervous.
Maybe skeptical.
Artificial intelligence.
Are you going to make this simple enough for someone not really tech savvy to understand?
Oh, that's a fascinating request.
That's sexy. Understand. I like that framing.
It sounds like you want to know how we can make these potentially complex AI topics really engaging.
And maybe strip away some of the intimidating technical jargon.
Absolutely.
So I'm actually asking the AI questions and they're listening to me so I can actually join the discussion and interrupt. I tried this with another tool made by Jotform that narrates slide presentations, but this is a nice little audio interview. So anywhere in the audio, if you have a question, you can go into interactive mode and you can actually interrupt the playback process, and it'll address answering your question for you in the studio output here. So AI and senior healthcare.
When you hear the term AI, what comes to mind? For a lot of us, it's something out of a sci-fi movie to help us all live longer, healthier lives. Today, we're going to dive into the really incredible role AI is playing in healthcare, especially for older adults. Okay, so let's get right into it, because for a lot of people, the whole idea of AI in medicine brings up some pretty big questions, right? Is it going to be a compassionate partner in our health journey? Or is it just some cold, unfeeling machine making decisions about our lives? It's a totally valid concern. But here's the thing. The reality is often the exact opposite of our fears. We picture these intimidating robots, but the whole point of AI isn't to replace doctors. It's to give them superpowers. It's not about making cold.
So it's a pretty interesting approach to this. The video has taken a while to generate, so we might not get that until after we have our open up our discussion. But again, you've got the ability to get the audio overview, and you can choose and select your sources. You can start a new notebook if you want to. You can try different things that you may want to do. Look at a quiz or flashcards or audio, great for learning. They have new Nana Banana that'll do some AI generated video in here as well. So you'll see different resources. And again, I'm in a notebook that I've created. I can create other notebooks. If I go back to the NotebookLM menu, you can see this is the notebook I created. I have some older ones here. Tony, who teaches Take on Tech, he shared his NotebookLM content with other people, so you can share it. You can just work on a specific article with one source, for example, or you can look at some of these public featured available notebooks that are accessible on all kinds of topics. Okay, so these are featured, and you have the ability to find notebooks on a lot of different topics. They're creating this and making this kind of a general purpose learning tool for a lot of information. If you want to go to earnings reports for top 50 corporations, there are some things that have been created. Here's a video that was created. Let's take the 5 biggest trends from Q1. It's a video, and you can see the video, how it's been created. It's basically creating a slide presentation
Earnings
with
season.
narration.
You know what it's like, right? It's this quarterly flood of numbers, press releases, and let's be honest, a ton of jargon. But if you look closely, underneath all that noise, there are these really powerful signals about where the economy is really headed. So today, that's what we're going to do. We're cutting through all the static to bring you the 5 biggest, most important trends that define the first quarter of 2025. So here's the game plan. We're going to kick things off with the incredible AI gold rush and see how it's bumping up against the new reality of global trade. Then we'll dive into how those two massive forces are creating this split screen.
So you can see how it's got graphics that have been created, and you can scroll through and go faster or go back, change the playback speed if you want to as well. But when somebody makes Notebook public, it's possible for you to use Studio to be able to look at a variety of things. Now, let's see if our video has been created. If we take any of these others, they have video overviews that have been created so that you can find a video. And when you see the little video icon, you'll know it's a video. When you see a flashcards, it'll be an icon like that. The audio will be this, and you can play this back, even if it's something you haven't created. You can play it back and interact with it and ask questions as you deal with it. You can see the mind map of all this information. So as people are putting these things together, and sometimes Google is creating some of these as well, so that you can use it as a learning tool, as a research tool, as an analysis tool. But you can create notebooks anytime you want to, and they can be one source. As I have here, this is a single source. I don't know if this will take if it'll do the video a little bit faster, but video does take time to generate with AI. It's generating the narration. It's also generating the graphics that are being used. And they do have a new style in Nano Banana. That's one of their video animation tools. So you can change the styles if you'd rather have something that's auto-selected or a classic style or a whiteboard style. And you can ask the AI hosts to focus on some particular things now in these as well. Same thing with the audio overview. Click on the pencil icon. You have a way to create a short, longer, different type of audio, and you can actually prompt the AI hosts to focus in on something that gives you more direction. So whenever you see these little pencil icons, these stylus icons are available for quizzes, for video overview, and for audio overview. Gives you the ability to create that specialty focus in guiding the prompt as you may want to guide it a little bit more. I wanted to show you that with some of these feature notebooks, you can try out some of these outputs that have been created by the person that created the system. Here's one, A Science Fan's Guide to Visiting Yellowstone. There will be more available coming up, and so you can see studio outputs that will give you just a report to read, an audio, but you can also ask prompts of these particular inputs. So one of the things about guided AI in using NotebookLM is you can focus in on specific sources. And so you have the ability to create and choose your sources and generate prompts and get AI responses on your source documentation. I just wanted to thank everybody for coming today to this tech topic and give you an update on Google Notebook LM, something you may not have thought about exploring, but it's kind of interesting, another resource that's available for you to take a look at and utilize. And again, you can have private notebooks, you can have public notebooks, and there are notebooks that Google is creating for people based on interests, and there may be the ability to create and share notebooks as part of a community on NotebookLM as well in the future. So thanks for watching and appreciate it.